Wakana Gojo is a high schooler who hopes to become a doll maker and make Hina dolls after being inspired by his grandfather. But he is traumatized when his childhood friend ends their friendship because dolls are for girls. Still, Wakana persisted and he sleeps with a doll head in his room. Wakana lives with his grandfather because his parents and grandmother have passed away. His grandfather advises him to stop working so late at night, but Wakana just wants to keep making dolls. Wakana isn't really good at making faces, but he's quite good at making costumes. His grandfather is also worried because he doesn't think his grandson has any friends, and Wakana quickly retreats and heads to school. In fact, his grandfather is right because Wakana has absolutely no friends in school because all he does is make and stare at dolls all day. Suddenly, his classmate Marin flies into his desk and hits her head. She apologizes for troubling him and notices that he has some ink on his arm. Wakana is amazed to have talked to her, because Marin is extroverted and popular around school. Marin is gossiping with her friends and they call her an ice queen because she rejected a guy who called her a nerd for liking anime. Wakana overhears them and admires Marin's strong defense of her love of anime. At the end of the day, Wakana is stuck on cleaning duty because his classmates ditch him, but he is surprised when Marin joins him as she also has cleaning duty. She is exasperated that all the other guys left and argues that he shouldn't let their classmates take advantage of him. That night, Wakana accidentally cuts his hand and he can't stop thinking about Marin's advice that he stand up for himself. He also realizes that his sewing machine is broken, so he decides to use the one at the art room in school. While sewing, he is caught in the act and Marin finds him sewing. He is surprised to find that she finds his work really cool and she compliments his work. But when he says he is only good at costumes instead of actual woodworking, she strips to show him a black costume. He accidentally insults her by harshly critiquing her outfit and she starts to cry. He apologizes for hurting her feelings, but she forgives him and says that she made the outfit to cosplay a character. But she doesn't have much skill in sewing and has been coming to school to use the machine. Marin asks if he could help her make outfits and thinking how kind she has been. Wakana accepts even though he has never made clothing for humans before. Marin talks excitedly about her character Shizuku Tan from the game Slippery Girls 2, and Wakana is uncertain about the media she likes to watch. He becomes more disturbed when she talks about the erotic game and wonders if somehow she is making fun of him. Marin professes that she loved the character Shizuku Tan because of all the faces she made in the game and that she'd like to be her one day. And Wakana has no idea what she is talking about. He is confused how she was able to buy an age-restricted game, but does not question her interest because his interest in dolls is also strange. To get started, Marin shares a book on how to create cosplay and they look forward to working with each other. The next day, Marin arrives at his home to start working and gives him a cheesecake. She explores his room and he is embarrassed that someone other than his grandfather is in his room. She asks if he could take her measurements, but Wakana is too embarrassed to do it. Marin reveals that he should be fine because she wore a bathing suit to help with getting measurements, and Wakana almost loses it from embarrassment. Wakana struggles to get her measurements, and when asking if she is embarrassed, Marin replies that she will do anything to get her cosplay. Wakana puts on his game face and gets her measurements. Since he can't make shoes, he gets measurements of her feet and is surprised when she jumps on his bed. He can't handle measuring her feet. And when it comes time to measure her waist and bust, he can barely do it without dying of embarrassment, and he absolutely refuses to measure her bust point. She teases him and says that she will do the measurements herself. When they are doing the last measurements, he finds her blushing and thinks the room is too hot, so he goes to turn on the air conditioning. Before she leaves, Marin leaves him copies of the games so he can get designs for the cosplay, and that night his grandfather catches him playing the mature games very seriously. Wakana has a dream of Marin wearing the finished cosplay, but the dream starts to turn mature. He wakes up horrified. At school, Marin meets Wakana and he can't help but think about his dream. He meets her friends Noah, Dea, and Rune. They leave to get drinks and Wakana is happy to see that she is acting friendly. Throughout the day, Marin tries to meet Wakana across campus, but he keeps dodging and avoiding her. She asks if he can go shopping with her to get supplies for the cosplay, but he declines and runs away. She tracks him down and scolds him for avoiding her all day. He thinks it'd be awkward if they were seen together since they aren't friends, but Marin insists they actually are friends. He becomes worried about rumors and she finds his concern silly and takes him to go shopping. They go to a hobby shop and find the fabrics needed for the cosplay. Wakana shares his design for the cosplay and she is amazed with his design work. They find fabric that would fit Shizuku's background, but it's expensive. Sparing no cost for her cosplay, Marin offers her card. They later go to a wig store and Wakana reveals his deep research for the character and picks out the right wig. They get the garter and stockings for the outfit and Marin teases him. They have dinner and bother the patrons when they talk about playing Slipper Girls 2. who are horrified to hear their discussion. Wakana asks where she will show the costume, and she shares her social media and says that she will go to events. Marin is also a fan of the cosplayer Juju-san, who only has a social media presence. She asks if he finds cosplayers pretty, and Wakana reveals that when he saw his first Hina doll, he found the doll more beautiful than anything in this world. Marin spots a food truck she can't resist and gets some food while he tries to pay her back for dinner, but she refuses because he actually decided to play the game she liked and designed the cosplay so well. She thanks him and tries to offer him food but gets self-conscious when he declines. She states there's a cosplay event in 2 weeks. Wakana thinks he is doomed because there is now a deadline for the cosplay, and he is afraid of disappointing Marin. At home, his grandfather is happy to hear he went shopping with a friend but is shocked when he sees stockings. His grandfather goes to the hospital and Wakana's cousin Miori arrives. His grandfather Kaoru decides to go with Mori to recover for 2 weeks. Wakana is sad over his grandfather's injury and Marin tries to cheer him up. They exchange contact info, and Wakana also realizes that midterms are coming up soon as well. At night, the store gets a call from a customer asking for a tour of the shop. Caught between working on the cosplay, running the store, and studying for midterms, Wakana is completely exhausted. Marin is worried for him and checks up on him late at night. Seeing the lights off, she hopes he's okay, but Wakana is sick with overwork. Wakana remembers his grandfather's lesson that passion doesn't equal skill, and he becomes upset because he failed to finish the dress for Marin. But then Wakana remembers a lesson from his grandfather that as long as passion exists, the work is worth it. He thinks about Marin's kindness, and this pushes him to work through the night to finish the cosplay, and texts Marin that he is finished. Marin is amazed at the final product, but is shocked to hear that he worked all night to finish because she didn't intend to cosplay at the next event. She cries because she realizes that she accidentally put him through so much stress to finish the cosplay and apologizes to him. Wakana encourages her to wear the cosplay, as since they have more time he can fix some of the imperfections, and that he was happy to work on the cosplay for her. Wakana ties Marin's hair and they use fake eyelashes from the store. He shows her different Hina dolls and she is amazed to see so many variations. She is happy to see him smile. Finally, they finish the cosplay and are amazed because Marin looks exactly like Shizuku Tan. Marin explores cosplay and Wakana makes a mental note to make the cosplay more functional in the future. Marin is so excited she wants to take some photos immediately, but Wakana points out that they could improve the photo by using a background fitting the game more and a pose that fits Shizuku Tan better. Marin has a lot of fun making the photos and can barely contain her excitement. They take many photos and Marin creates a new social media account called Marin and uploads them. She spontaneously decides to go to the cosplay event the next day. At the event the next day, Marin is amazed to see so many famous cosplayers and characters. Wakana feels embarrassed and out of place because there are so many women at the event. Marin's cosplay is also so good that they are starting to attract attention. They retreat to a quieter location to help Wakana's anxiety, and Marin gets approached by a photographer. She takes a selfie with the photographer, and Wakana sees a line formed to take pictures of Marin's cosplay. Wakana is amazed over the journey he has taken with Marin and happy to have agreed to make her costume. Marin runs over to alert Wakana of wardrobe issues as she used padding for the costume and is finding the outfit really hot. They go to a nearby building and cool Marin down, and an embarrassed Wakana wipes her back. They return to the plaza for more photos, but a strong gust of wind lifts up Marin's skirt and the photographer accidentally takes a picture. They head home by train and Marin professes while she is tired she had a lot of fun. She asks what they should do for the next cosplay and reveals that she has 51 favorite characters. She teases him because he looks happy and Wakana promises to continue working with Marin. Marin continues to talk about the event and a tired Wakana calls her beautiful before falling asleep, which shocks Marin. At Wakana's house they wash the wig together and Marin starts to catch feelings for Wakana. Miori is driving grandfather Kaoru home and is shocked to see Wakana with Marin in the cosplay. Kaoru finds the dress impressive and he starts to critique the details of the dress while Marin struggles with feelings for Wakana. She doesn't know how to handle herself until her stomach accidentally rumbles to her embarrassment. Marin stays for dinner and she reveals that her mother died when she was young and her father works far away. She shows off her cooking and they are horrified of her childlike diet. They decide Marin should have dinner with them from now on. They separate at the train station and Marin struggles with her feelings on the train home. On a rainy day, Kaoru offers shelter to a girl mistaking her as a friend of his grandson. When Wakana comes home, he goes to confront her because she might be a con artist but accidentally walks in on her. He learns that her name is Sajuna and is older than him, and she came to see the outfits. He shows off the Hina dolls and she compliments them, but then her patience runs out and she states that she came for cosplay outfits. Sajuna shows him a picture of Marin's cosplay and orders a cosplay from him. When he refuses, she blackmails him because of the incident in the bathroom. Suddenly he realizes that she is the cosplayer Juju that Marin is a fan of. Sajuna reveals that after seeing the cosplay photos, she stalked Wakana and Marin back to the store so she could get her own outfit. Marin is amazed to meet Juju and starts to fangirl over her fellow cosplayer, which makes Sajuna very uncomfortable. Sajuna requests that Wakana make a cosplay of Shin Nikado for her, a character from a Magical Girls series. Sajuna details the plot of the series and that she is interested in the character's dark alter ego outfit. Marin reveals her extensive knowledge of the series, and although Sajuna can buy a cosplay, she wants one that fits her perfectly. To Sajuna's chagrin, she starts to bond with Marin over their love of cosplay, and she starts to apologize for her behavior. Sajuna accidentally thinks they are a couple, which embarrasses Wakana and makes Marin happy. Marin tries to ask Sajuna to group cosplay with her, but Sajuna refuses. Sajuna cosplays alone and rents a studio for photos. Marin offers to split the rent for the studio, and Sajuna accepts to group cosplay only this one time. Wakana needs to do research for the cosplay, so Wakana gives him her box set of 126 episodes of the show to watch. Later, Kaoru inspects Wakana's Hina doll work and finds that it has improved, which means that working on the cosplay seemed to have helped him. Wakana visits Marin the next day and is shocked with her appearance, and she becomes embarrassed because she isn't wearing colored contacts. Wakana is embarrassed that he is in Marin's house and is shocked when she invites him to watch the series with her. He finds that her room is completely full of merch. They watch some episodes of Flower Girl Blaze and take notes of the characters and how they act in the show. Wakana wonders why in a Magical Girl anime the characters just punch each other. Marin realizes that they are kind of on a date, and she becomes embarrassed and happy until her stomach rumbles. She volunteers to cook and Wakana becomes worried. She challenges herself to make omeras for him, but it ends up being a huge mess. Wakana enjoys the meal and finds it delicious, and they finish the anime together. Later, Wakana emails the cosplay designs to Sajuna, and she reveals that she uses tape to change the shape of her face for cosplay. She is shocked to hear that his Shizuku outfit was the first cosplay he ever made. She gives him advice that they should use a camera instead of a phone for pictures and use software to touch up cosplay photos. They meet up with Sajuna's little sister Shinju, who will be their photographer, and are shocked to see her bigger than Sajuna. Sajuna reveals that it was Shinju that started the social media account that made Sajuna popular, and she came up with her sister's cosplay name. Now Shinju is her social media manager and photographer. Shinju gives them advice on the difference between a phone and a camera, where the camera gives better quality and different options. She also gives advice on how different lenses can change the photo, and techniques such as blurring out the background or using props can highlight a cosplayer better. Marin asks if Shinju is interested in cosplaying herself, but Shinju is only interested in photography. Wakana and Marin go shopping for equipment, but they find that a camera and camera equipment are way too expensive for them. Later, they scout for studios for their photo shoot. They find a creepy old hospital, which Wakana points out is perfect for the dark setting of the characters. Sajuna at first refuses to step foot into the hospital, but when Wakana asks if she's uncomfortable, she joins them. Marin and Shinju discuss different possible photos when it starts to rain. Wakana sees that Sajuna is terrified and asks her not to push herself. Sajuna reveals that she works hard at her cosplay because when she was young she dreamed of becoming a magical girl, but later found out that magical girls were just television. Until one day she found a magical girl outfit and fell in love with cosplay, as she could dress up as a magical girl. She reveals when she saw Marin's photos she became extremely jealous, so she felt she had to reach out to the designer, which led her to Wakana. She can't explain her intense passion for cosplay, and it reminds Wakana of his great love for Hina dolls, so he starts to cry. Sajuna becomes shocked when he starts to cry, and Wakana thanks her for opening his eyes to her passion. Meanwhile, Sajuna had never held a guy's hand before, so she passed out from an anxiety attack. The group decides to call it a day so that Sajuna can recover. Before they part, Wakana asks bluntly if Shinju is interested in cosplaying, and a sad Shinju reveals that she would like to cosplay and is jealous of her sister because Shinju's favorite character looks more like her sister and does not fit Shinju's build. Wakana encourages Shinju to pursue her passion and that he will help her, and then he finds out that she wants to cosplay Soma, the brother character in the Magical Girls series. She is afraid to cosplay because she feels like she is too fat, and Wakana also becomes worried because cosplay could be expensive for her. Later they meet again and get a school uniform for her cosplay, but it proves way too tight for her and she breaks the suit. They face a serious challenge in making her look like a guy, and when they look for solutions they find an undergarment that will help. They also buy a wig for the cosplay, and Wakana is nervous because he has never worked with wigs before. Wakana thinks of how brave Marin is to help calm his nerves. And finally they get some makeup and complete Shinju's look. At school, Marin asks Wakana to go with her to the beach to celebrate finishing their exams. Wakana asks if they are location scouting, but Marin reveals she just wants to go to the beach to enjoy the summer. They share food, but Marin's burger gets stolen by a hawk and they throw fries at it. The two share a burger on the beach and decide to enjoy the water, which makes Wakana really embarrassed. Wakana becomes nervous because this is his first time at a bunch, as he spent his childhood making dolls. He tells her because of his passion he hasn't been to a lot of places, and she hesitatingly asks if they can go see lots of places together. Embarrassed, she retreats and takes a picture of him when he suddenly falls over into the water. After a shopping trip together, Marin shows Wakana her new swimsuit and he becomes flustered as she teases him. She helps him paint a glass rock and feels happy to be contributing to the work. She teases him again but realizes she forgot her swimsuit top. Sajuna arrives to try on the completed cosplay, and she is amazed at the quality of his work. Marin doesn't understand their technical discussion about the cosplay and can only make basic observations of her own cosplay. To get a better expression for her character, Sajuna gives them tips and they use tap-in techniques to change Marin's face for the character. Marin becomes shocked at her transformation and is flustered with the compliments. But when they reach the abandoned hospital, it starts to rain. In a moment alone together, Marin asks Sajuna for a selfie and the older cosplayer reluctantly agrees. They wonder why Shinju and Wakana are so late and are shocked to see Shinju in her Soma cosplay. They are amazed with Shinju's cosplay and her character work, and they all take a selfie together to celebrate. The team takes a number of cosplay photos and prepares for the final scene between Sajuna's and Marin's characters. After they take the shot, an excited Marin can't contain her excitement, and Sajuna admits to herself that she enjoyed the group cosplay. Later, she offers to pay for Shinju's cosplay and feels sad that she couldn't tell her little sister wanted to cosplay as well. Wakana encourages Sajuna and she accidentally calls him wonderful. Shinju manages to take a great shot of Marin, but her own cosplay breaks after, so they finish filming. That night, as the sisters review the photos, they find terrific shots of Marin and Sajuna, revealing that she was jealous of Marin because she is able to cosplay a great number of characters while Sajuna is more limited compared to Marin and Shinju. Sajuna admits that she had fun group cosplaying and she would be open to it again. Meanwhile, Marin is also reviewing the photos while watching the Flower Blaze series, and they talk about Shinju's cosplay. When she hears about how closely Wakana and Shinju work together, she becomes a little grumpy. Later, Wakana is thinking about their new project, a new cosplay for Marin for the character Veronica, who they saw when watching a series together. Because the design is simpler, he finishes her cosplay much faster than normal and is shocked when Marin arrives with a skin tan, revealing that she used foundation to better cosplay Veronica. Marin takes a shower because it is a warm summer, and Wakana is embarrassed when she wears his clothes after her shower. She shows off the makeup and props she will be using for her Veronica cosplay, and they hang up a detachable decal for their photo shoot. They also add fake pointed teeth to the look. But when she starts to apply the foundation, Wakana becomes too embarrassed and Marin accidentally falls over and has an accident. Later, they decide to go to Shibuya to get a cosplay prepared for Wakana. Wakana tries out several outfits that look terrible, but Marin likes all of them and can't contain her excitement. They instead go with a casual outfit and spend the rest of the day shopping and eating food together. Suddenly, Wakana declares he can't help Marin with her cosplay anymore, which almost crushes Marin until he reveals that he is too embarrassed with how much skin the Veronica cosplay shows. They decide not to use the outfit, and Marin teases him, asking if he would like a private picture of her in the cosplay. With the summer, the two decide to go to a manga cafe to cool off, and Wakana becomes embarrassed because the room is very small. Marin shows off some manga she is reading and reveals that she really likes Half Pigtails. She would like to cosplay the character Liz from the manga Siksik, and Wakana compliments her hair to her embarrassment. Since Wakana doesn't know what a succubus is, Marin explains they are sexy demons, which horrifies Wakana. Wakana starts to read the slice of life manga and enjoys it, but realizes that he doesn't have enough detail on Liz's outfit to create a proper cosplay design. After they finish the cosplay, they decide to use a hotel for the photo shoot because Wakana's room is too traditional. An excited Marin explores the room. Wakana becomes embarrassed when he finds out the hotel is actually a love hotel. The details of the mature room threaten to overwhelm Wakana, but he manages to pull himself together. Although he is nervous, they decide to use the room because Marin already paid for it, and when Marin goes to change, Wakana tries to watch TV to relax. Marin changes into the finished cosplay and is amazed with the details. Wakana admits because of the liberties he had to make to create the outfit. The cosplay is technically incorrect to the source material, but Marin doesn't mind. Wakana helps Marin apply the makeup and calls her beautiful, but Marin is sad to find out he was talking about her wig. They use various props to demonstrate different situations from the manga. To better create a close-up, Marin gets on top of Wakana, but when they hear another couple next door, they accidentally get into an intimate position. They are interrupted by a call from the front desk and they can't contain their embarrassment. Traumatized, they leave the hotel. One night, Wakana is working on a Hina doll. When he sees fireworks from his room, he gets a text from Marin asking for his help on a new cosplay. Since summer is coming to end, she was supposed to see a fireworks festival but couldn't because she has too much homework and too little motivation. She reveals that she hasn't had time for homework because she had been modeling part-time to eventually pay for a DSLR camera for cosplay. To take a break, they decide to watch a horror movie. The movie greatly disturbs Marin, and Wakana is amazed by the costume work and the CGI of the film. He wants to keep her watching to get more details. Eventually, Marin finishes her homework but realizes she left some of her math homework at the school, so they decide to fetch her homework and explore the school. Marin spots the school pool and takes a dip but accidentally almost drowns. Wakana saves her and is shocked to find out that Marin can't swim. Marin wonders if she is crazy to love the ocean but not know how to swim. And Wakana tells her that she isn't crazy because he loves Hina dolls but is bad at painting them. Since it is the end of summer, they decide to find at least one festival to go to before school is in session. After Marin has finished her homework, Wakana travels to meet her at a summer festival. And Wakana becomes amazed to see Marin in a summer yukata, which makes Marin very happy. To satisfy Marin's appetite, they visit many stores and buy lots of snacks. Finally, the fireworks start, and Wakana feels the sights and sound of the festival and wonders how many amazing events he missed because he was working in his room. Amongst the fireworks, Marin and Wakana stare at each other until Marin sticks her tongue out. After the show ends, they discover that Marin has scratched her feet, so he carries her, and as the two wonder about the festival, they promise to go again the next year. That night, Wakana gets a phone call from Marin after she watched a scary movie and can't fall asleep alone in her apartment. She asks if they can keep talking on the phone so she wouldn't feel alone, and the two talk late into the night. Finally, after Wakana drifts off into sleep, Marin confesses quietly that she loves him. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.